palms face down, elbows in line with the shoulders. You can interlace the hands or palms can be facing down. Okay, knees will draw back, feet are in line with the knees. You want to find that knee plank first. So from here, you're basically finding that knee plank with a rounded upper back, tucked pelvis with the toes down. And then from here, all you're doing is just extending the knees. And then you're in your front plank position. From here, inhale through the nose. From here, I'm gonna reach all the way out overhead until my arms are totally straight. I'm gonna feel the tension in my core, and then I'm gonna push into the ball back to the start. So I'm placing my hands on the ball. From here, I'm gonna push the ball forward and then roll the ball back. So set up in the plank position, barbell roll out our shoulder distance, and from here you're gonna push it forward into the ground and arms will go overhead, and then you're gonna drive it back, bar over the chest or under the chest. So bar starts under the chest, push it overhead, push it into the ground, back to start. You're gonna push the ball forward and above the head and then return it back to start. So start with the forearms on the ball in the kneeling position. Press into a forearm plank. From here, push the ball overhead and return it to the start. Push the ball overhead and return. From here, keep the integrity of the form. From here, we're just gonna draw big circles with the ball. You can go 3 circles one way and then 3 circles the other way. So this is challenging anti-rotation by creating and elbow on that line. Bend your knees about 90 degrees. From here, push the elbow and bottom knee into the ground. From here, look straight ahead, straight back here. We don't want to be flexed over or hunchback or rotated forward. And we're gonna hold here 3 to 5 inhales and exhales on each side. Okay? Long lever side plank from the short lever side plank position, and you already have those directions. Extend the knees. From here, push the elbows into the ground, push the bottom foot and hips into the ground. Lift the hips up as high as possible, shoulder back, look straight ahead. Okay? So we don't want our head to move forward, and we don't want our shoulders around forward. So cues are shoulders back, head back, and chin down. So a lot of times people heads are forward or heads are back and up. You want the chin down, almost like you're being measured here as you would if you were standing. Variation as well, you can go half kneeling. So holding on to a cable or band, start in the side plank position, and then from here you're gonna row it so that the hand goes to the rib cage, and then reach out and repeat. So row, hold, return, row, hold, return, and you'll perform 5 to 8. And go heel over toe and try to walk in line on that line, looking straight ahead. And as you're doing that, we want to make sure we're not bending. So as we're walking, we want to be walking upright and straight. If you can make it harder by going heel over toe. But the first thing you should just make sure that the kettlebell isn't kind of moving kind of like this. Like that they have a firm grip, that it's not moving side to side, and that they feel like their chest is up and they're not dragging it down. So when we do this, when we're holding onto this kettlebell, this section of our core has to light up or contract, isometrically engage as I travel through space, right? So that's why the single leg, single arm carrying the pulley, pull it and reach overhead to start. Then from here, you're just holding this position. Because what's the weight trying to do? The weight is trying to pull me down. So what I'm doing here is I have to isometrically contract this side of my core here, okay? So this would be a standing overhead iso hold, okay? Using a cable, you can also use a band, okay? And so I might hold with a little bit of lateral flexion just to keep the core engaged, or you could hold straight up just like this. You might have to increase the weight if you don't feel it that much. So probably 10 to 15 second holds each side. And I would just play around with the weight. I wouldn't play around with the time. I would just increase the weight over time. I would say 10 to 15 seconds each side, then increase the weight over time. Eventually, yes, you can turn this into a lateral flexion exercise. Just like that. You could also do this. So this would be a lateral flexion. On the legs, so push down on my legs, and then I'm going to extend my spine, whoa! And I'm gonna hold for about 5 to 10 seconds, and then I would switch to that side extension position, and then holding right here. So this would be a side extension iso hold. And then obviously you can add in the lateral flexion aspect. I actually really like this exercise as a side core exercise. I actually like the flexion of it a little bit better than I do the iso hold. So here's the iso hold. You can add weight, progress this, overload this exercise. You can grab like a 5, 10, 15 pound dumbbell, hold about 10 to 15 seconds on each side. So this would be your side extension iso hold. Then from here, you're gonna pull it into your chest, stand next to the side, stand to the side of the machine about an arm distance away from the cable machine. From here, we're going to press out in front of us and then slowly return back to the chest. So press forward in front of us, slowly return toward the chest. So in this position, I'm trying not to rotate. So that's why we call it anti-rotation standing press out. You can also do this kneeling and half kneeling. So you can start a client or person in the kneeling position, knees under shoulders, feet tucked behind knees, standing tall with the head over the shoulders, shoulders over the hips. Hands are placed right in front of the chest, hand over hand of the cable handle. From here, we're gonna press out in front and then slowly return toward the center. So here's tall kneeling, half kneeling, other side half kneeling. And so you could also switch this half kneeling position from my right foot closest to the cable to my left foot closest to the cable. So after you perform, say, 5 to 10 reps in the kneeling position or the half kneeling position or the standing position, you're going to turn around and perform the same thing. So starting with the half kneeling or the kneeling position, tall kneeling position, half kneeling position, and then standing position. And if it's in the standing position, make sure it's about chest height. Feet are about shoulder width apart, hand over hand, holding onto the cable handle, push out in front so that the cable itself wants to rotate your body, but you're not letting it. That's why they call it anti-rotation press out, okay? So that's the anti-rotation press out. You can do it half kneeling, kneeling, or standing. You can also perform the lateral slide or the lateral shuffle anti-rotation press. So what we do is feet are wider than shoulders. Notice they're pretty wide, but not super wide. Hands are in front of the chest. Don't rotate. From here, I'm gonna step toward the left 2 times with each foot, and then twice to the right, 2 times with each foot. Okay, and then I'll switch sides. Okay, so that's an example of each side. I would perform 3 reps on each side of those 2 steps, lateral steps side to side. So that's an anti-rotation press out with a lateral step. So that would be a progression. Then you can also do the anti-rotation press out with an overhead reach. Feet are always going to be a little bit wider than shoulders because the more narrow you get, the harder it is to balance the body. So push out in front, knees are slightly bent, and then you're going to reach overhead, don't let the body bend, and then reach out front. And then pull the cable to the chest, push out front, reach overhead, return to the cable in front of the chest, and then pull the cable into the chest. So push out front, reach overhead, reach out front, pull back into the chest. And then you perform about 3 to 5 reps on each side. So this is the standing anti-rotation press out with overhead reach. Okay, a breath cue would be exhale when you push out front. For all, bend the knees just a little bit. We're going to pull into the chest and then reach across and over the shoulder. So this one, we're going to return to the chest, return to the rack. From here, we're going to pull and press. Return, return. Pull, press. Return, return. So it's pull, press, return to the chest, return to the rack. Phase after static lift is dynamic lift. So I'm going to get a little bit lower and I'm going to pivot my feet and I'm going to explode up. So I'm not going to return each time. I'm going to make this one fluid movement. Okay, so this is a diagonal lift. Okay, so we call it dynamic step up and lift. It's going to start with a foot outside the cable machine on the box. I'm going to spring up using the bottom leg and the top leg at the same time. I'm going to press into the box and press into the floor. As I do that, I'm going to diagonally lift the cable and up across my shoulder as I go into the air. And exhale as I do that. So again, foot that is outside of the machine is on the box. Foot closest to the machine is on the ground. Bend down, step, lift, across, and over the shoulder. So that's your the foot away from the machine first, and then I'm going to pivot on my front foot as I reach across the body. So I'm going to rotate, reach across, finish, return. Exhale as I go through. Dynamic chops and lifts, anywhere from 5 to 8 reps, because this will be in phase 2 or 3 after your static. So more like a 50%, 60%, not like an 80% and not like a 20%. So notice that my back hip is internally rotated to start. And then when I go across and down, it externally rotates and the front foot internally rotates, or front hip internally rotates. So anywhere from 5 to 8, you can start with 3.